Hello, so my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is about bringing Lilith and Chiron into Vedic astrology and gaining magnificent power insights by doing that. Now, I've been offering Western astrology, including psychodynamic Western astrology, along with the vastness of Vedic astrology for the last 28 years. This post tells you about unique benefits that combination allows me to offer you when you have a reading with me or when you enroll on one of my courses. And I'm just wanting to let you know that as a new development over the last year, I've taken a unique and very important step further in my joining of Western and Vedic astrology by taking Western astrology's Lilith and Chiron into the hugeness of Vedic astrology's analysis methods. Okay, Chiron is so important to know about. It's the planet of our existential wound, in the healing of which we can become the healer of others. It is so important to know and understand your Chiron. Lilith is our shadow and unconscious, and what is buried in there, including are important to understand, integrate and properly express wild side. It's so important to understand our unconscious and shadow side. I have a postgraduate degree in psychology, and I rate so highly Jung's understanding of the unconscious in our personality, in our life. I found that we absolutely do need to delve into our shadow side and our unconscious and identify what is there. Powerful things that were stuffed down or denied because they were perhaps not very good, or perhaps because they're too powerful and good and we weren't deemed worthy to allow it by our parents or school or whatever. But we have to delve into our unconscious and shadow to manifest the full spark that is us, and that includes our wild side. We can't express ourselves properly if that is denied. And study of Lilith in your astrology reveals what the nature and particular areas affected by your wild side are. And they can be quite harmed because that wasn't allowed to be expressed. Now, the insights from this year of study have been amazing. It's so very important, in fact, I feel, to share this with the world. And of course, like all my astrology work, they are always linked to identification of needed ways of healing. Bringing Chiron and Lilith into Vedic astrology can vastly assist the fullness and accuracy of the Vedic astrology declaration of your personality, incarnational life purpose, love scripts, and so on. So I do invite you to get in touch with me and have a reading. But it's not just the case that including Chiron and Lilith into Vedic astrology enhances your Vedic astrology declaration. It is absolutely the case that the interpretation structures of Vedic astrology massively enhance our declaration of the nature of your Chiron and your Lilith. So I'm now going to look at a case example which shows how, when you look at a person's Chiron and Lilith in Western astrology and then transpose Chiron and Lilith into the Vedic charts, magnificently powerful realizations are clearly offered, including, of course, quite clear definitions of possible healing approaches, empowerment approaches. So let's look at the case of a man who in his birth chart has Chiron conjunct Mars and Lilith opposition Venus. And I have, in addition to studying the Western chart, moved his Chiron and Lilith into his Vedic charts, and wonders come up. So example 1, it is so helpful potentially to hear that this guy is very oversensitive because he has Lilith in Pisces, and that can be summarized as, you are a sensitive soul indeed. Now just this one statement can set up a whole string of awarenesses as to where sensitivity can be useful and as to where it can be a real problem for a person. And then, as you can see, that awareness can go on to healing expressions of the damaging side of sensitivity scripts. Now, example 2 to do with this man is ancestral curse. So Vedic astrology, in this example, takes Chiron Lilith understanding steps forward. You see, Vedic astrology has a magnificent system of divisional charts called Varga charts, and each Varga chart says something quite magnificently special about a particular area of our life. So, when I looked at this man's second harmonic chart, the D2, called the Hora, H-O-R-A chart, it was amazingly revealed that 4 planets, yes, Chiron and Mars, Lilith and Pisces, the ones we're focusing on, the ones I've brought over from Western astrology, were all in the portion of the D2 chart ruled by Pitris, or ancestors, including ancestral curse. And a very clear ancestral curse was identified around this man's Mars and Chiron, Lilith and Venus. And ways of healing could then be identified. And if you go to my new Love Star dating website, you'll see there's quite a number of associated astrologers and healers offering ancestral healing work. Okay, example 3 is to do with mothering in this man's chart, the case example. So let's take that further step forward. This man has his moon in his Vedic birth chart in the very last degree of Vedic Pisces in the Gandanta zone. And that indicates a destiny. Mother will not be there for you. In fact, his mother had her moon in a Bhukta Mula, the last degree of Vedic Scorpio, also a Gandanta zone, there are 3 of them, which indicates that a woman with such a destiny of moon in a Bhukta Mula should very likely perhaps not have children because her own mother was so very much not there for her that terrible damage was caused, which can be passed on. Now, the fascinating thing is that when you look at this man, the case examples D60 chart, the 60th harmonic chart, the Shashtiamsha chart, Well, the Shashtyamsa shows our causal body with the karma we have accumulated so far. And it's so significant that the D60 shows this man has his moon in the section ruled by Gora, a malefic deity whose character is awful great force. Now that can mean that anger will be held within him, which he needs to learn to calm and heal. It can mean there was a shocking incident from past life held buried in his unconscious or shadow self, creating fear and anxiety that he needs to heal in this life. And it's a terrible indication for his mothering. See how moving Chiron and Lilith into the structures of Vedic astrology produces such wonderful, such useful declarations, so helpful to the person. Healing, power and strength can be gained. Now I looked at a fourth example in this man's astrology, and many more, and that was to do with his creative efforts, because he felt he was very creative but felt he didn't deliver. Now Vedic astrology has a further divisional chart declaring, amongst other things, issues of creative effort. It's called the D3 or the Drekana chart. Fascinatingly, this man has his Chiron and Mars in the first house of his D3 Drekana chart. And the first house, the rising sign, is so important, affecting our creative effort and its issues. And so to have Chiron and Mars in the first house of your Drekana indicates there's a wound to him realizing his creative effort. A wound which I seek to help him heal. And furthermore, Mars rules his first house, and Mars itself is there in what's called a Sarpa Drekana. Powerful challenges that need to be overcome. So receiving such insight as to our Lilith and Chiron, by moving them over into Vedic astrology as well as their existing placement in Western astrology, and by the fact that they enrich Vedic astrology interpretation techniques, is so useful and helpful to each of us. And that sort of wonderful perception is the needed first step to bringing in the healing that we must undergo. So have a reading with me. Go to my Star Wheel Astrology website, on the buy page there's different readings on offer. Or go to my new Love Star Dating website and go to my Healer page where there's readings on offer. So thank you.